What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. Lots to talk about today. The market is doing some interesting things with sealed product. As always, I'm going to bring you all of the data, all of the plays, everything that's happening. This is the last episode before Christmas, so maybe you can scoop up some good little presents for yourself as sealed product. Let's get into it. Okay, starting off today, as we usually do, talking about Phantasmal Flames, just because it's the most recent set that's come out. Before I get into Phantasmal Flames, I just want to talk about what's going on in the market right now and where I see sort of market conditions right now in the short term. Now, we always say when you're investing or collecting sealed product that you really need to be looking at the long term, and you really do yourself a favor by sort of blocking out a lot of the noise that's happening in the short term, because long term things generally go up and they go in a positive direction. Pretty much every single set over the last 10 years has done that, and it's important to remember that as well. We are coming off of the back of one of the fastest growth cycles for sealed product in a very long time. It's been a very, very good year for sealed product, where pretty much everything that you held, whether it's from Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, right up to ultra modern brand new sets, if you could pick it up anywhere near retail or even just at marketplace at the start of last year, it's probably gone up quite significantly in value. And that brought a lot of people into the hobby that don't have the staying power. Okay, it takes a lot for you to sit and watch these kind of videos, for you to get deep into the weeds and really start looking at the data and start thinking about where things are going long term. To us, it seems natural because this is what we do. Okay, the fact that you're even watching this video shows that you're one of those people. You put a lot more thought into what you might buy sealed wise or what you're holding potentially than a lot of the people that are involved in sealed product, because so many people, and I'm talking about your flippers, your scalpers, your sneaker collectors, so many people came in over the last year thinking that they could buy sealed product and it's just going to go up and up and up and up. Now things are cooling off a little bit around the winter period, which is normal for a winter period anyway, particularly when we've had such an insane period of growth as well. It just puts uncertainty in the market. I think that when we zoom out on things and we really look at what's going on in the market, I don't think it's declining at all. I think that we're at a period of, it's almost like a deep freeze. It's almost like people have just hit the pause button. Now, I'm not convinced that we're at the very top of this crazy growth cycle right now. I'm not entirely convinced. I think we've just hit pause on the record player for a little bit, for a couple of months, and I think that's actually a healthy thing to happen. And the reason why I think that, and we'll get into that in a minute with looking at some of these sets, is not everything's coming down in price. A lot of stuff is holding at its all-time high, even when there's this uncertainty in the market right now, particularly on sealed products. You've got your stuff like Destined Rivals that we'll talk about in a minute that's just holding on that $400 mark. It's right up there as one of the most expensive boxes of the Scarlet and Violet era. It's actually more expensive than some Sword and Shield sets, and it's snapping at the heels of some of the top 5 sets of Sword and Shield as well, like your Silver Tempest isn't far off from Destined Rivals and that kind of stuff. So the fact that those sets are so ultra modern and they're holding at their value as well, despite the rest of the market correcting and consolidating a little bit, shows to me that I'm not entirely convinced that this hype cycle, as you call it, is over yet. I think it could be a good year next year. It's hard to tell, but my general view on things is there's a bit of a pause on the market. Things are just kind of sitting. Some stuff is correcting down in price a little bit, not everything though, so I wouldn't be super concerned. And what's really positive is the dead leaves are being shaken from the tree. Okay, the people that don't have the staying power, that have only been into seal collecting or investing for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, most of them are getting shook out the market and you can get good deals. And that's why some of the prices are correcting, because those people are dumping product because they're moving on to the next thing. They're like, they're not getting their 100% gain, their 2x in 2 months like they expected, because it's unrealistic. It really is. So I really, really wouldn't worry about the market. And my general view is everything's just on a bit of a pause now. Now, start of next year, it's hard to tell what will happen. Prices may come down a little bit. Great. I'm just going to buy more. Okay. I've been doing this a long time. I've seen these cycles come and go and come and go. And really, the way you win at seal collecting is just keep buying. Keep buying through the good times. Keep buying through the bad times. And I don't think that anyone, like, for example, if the market does start to decline over the next year, which I think is unlikely that it's going to be anything significant, but if it does, if the market slides 40%, 50%, and everyone just starts dumping all of their boxes over the next year, where do you think Destined Rivals is going to be in 5 years from now? That's what you really need to think about. And I get a lot of comments on my videos talking about, oh, can you give me some views on data on where you think X set is going to be in the next 8 weeks, in the next 2 months? Well, it shouldn't matter where it is in the next 8 weeks. Buy now, stop trying to time the market, hold it for at least 2 years. Minimum 2 years, be prepared to hold it. Obviously, if you need the money, sell it. Don't let anyone else tell you when you can and can't sell. Personally, I wouldn't be selling anything right now. I am selling nothing right now. All I'm doing is buying and buying and buying. Now let's get into the sets. Phantasmal Flames. I've been saying week in, week out that I'm a big fan of Phantasmal Flames. I keep buying it. Price keeps coming down, but it's nowhere near MSRP like people said it would be. There's a lot of hate online for Phantasmal Flames, and I think it's unjustified. Me personally, I think long term, we're looking at a set that I don't like comparing sets because they're their own thing. I think we've got another Brilliant Stars on our hands. I really do. I really see its kind of performance going forward as something like Brilliant Stars, as in gets to out of print, is looking $500 plus. I really do think that's where Phantasmal's going, but I also think it's got the potential to go a lot higher as well. The fact that it's still holding well over retail, yeah, prices are coming down, but they were already crazy for this set. And the time will come very quickly. Time moves so fast in seal collecting and investing. It really, really does. For someone that's been doing this for nearly a decade, time moves fast. Before you know it, there's going to be no more booster boxes of Phantasmal Flames. There's really not. Yeah, you might get a reprint late in its print window, 2 years after product launch, you might. But I really don't think it's going to affect price that much if it's such a late reprint like that. Yeah, you'll get more reprints over the next year and a half, but I think the supply is already starting to dry up. And let's have a look at eBay and prices, and I'll show you what I mean, because I'm noticing some really interesting stuff with Phantasmal Flames right now. Let's have a look. So last week, the average price was $218. Last sold $219. So it's holding at where it was on the averages last week. However, let's have a look at eBay. Look at this. Last sold $230. What I find is really, really interesting, though, is look at where this box is from. This is US eBay. It's a UK import for $230. Okay. Here's another one. UK import, $230. Here's actually a sale from today. Bought out straight away, new listing tag, $218 US. And the reason why this is bought out instantly for $218 is because, look at this on my next page. The cheapest you can buy, not looking at sales data, right now, live, morning of 20th of December, 2025, the cheapest you can buy a US to US sealed booster box of Phantasmal Flames is $260. Check for yourself. This is really interesting. There are 3 pages of UK boxes cheaper than that on US eBay. The international arbitrage is really, really ramping up. It really is. There are close to 100 listings on US eBay from UK sellers selling Phantasmal Flames for $230 a box. The cheapest you can buy it in the US from a US seller is someone with 3 feedback for 260, which is well over what it was selling for in the last couple of weeks. It was going for like 240, 230, that kind of range in the last couple of weeks. So if you actually look at the supply on US eBay secondary market for a decent price, people are charging what they want. They're charging over market, quite a bit over market as well, like 10-15% plus over market. That's what, nearly, what, like 15% over market? And that's the cheapest box you can buy right now. So I'm not surprised that A, people are opting to pay $30 less to buy a UK one with international shipping. And this one, that's just a dump from someone with one sale, 0 positive feedback. 218 just bought out straight away because people know their prices. They know that 218 is crazy when the cheapest you can buy it US to US is 260. And I think people don't realize how quickly these are drying up in the US. There's always going to be some for sale, but for market, I don't know. Now, what's this situation going to look like in 6 months' time? Yeah, we could get another big print window, another big wave. Is 260 going to be the cheapest? Or are they just going to start drying up? Because I tell you what, these sets are getting ripped in mass. People chasing those on rip and ship streams, normal retail collectors ripping these. I've ripped a lot of these. I've ripped over 2 booster boxes of this. Haven't hit a single Charizard SIR. They are harder to hit than you think they are, and they are a crowd favourite for ripping. I am a big fan of Phantasmal Flames, and I think that a lot of people are sleeping at the wheel on it. I really do. I see this box performing really well over the next couple of years. I think at a minimum, it performs like Brilliant Stars. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for that comment, but when have I ever steered you wrong in the past? I am more than happy to go against the grain and go against what everyone else is thinking. My personal statistic analysis of this set is it is incredibly undervalued, and it's going to disappear quickly because it's just getting open too much. It really, really is. Let's then have a look at prices in the UK. 180 quid. About what it has been recently. I bought one for 180 like 2 weeks ago. So to see one at 180, buy it now. Nice minty box. About the same. If you're wondering why I do both US and UK prices, obviously primarily focus on the US market. It's the biggest English card market in the world, so we can get a good gauge of what's going on. Also, a lot of my viewers are from the US as well, but I am from the UK. I'm an expert in the UK sealed market particularly as well, just because I've been trading in it for close to 10 years. But that doesn't mean I can't see what's going on in the US market as well. I make predictions on everything. So hopefully wherever you are in the world, you get something from these videos. This will be a slightly shorter video than normal. I know I've talked for ages and I've only got through one set at the moment, but we will zip through some of the other sets because like I said, the market is generally on a bit of a pause right now. So there are a lot of sets that haven't really moved much over the last week. So we will pick up the pace a bit as we're moving on. I just thought it was really important to start pointing out to you guys that there is a big difference between the cheapest you can buy internationally for Phantasmo in the US now and an actual US to US seller. It looks like supply is starting to dry up in the US. And yeah, you will get more prints, but it's something you really have to pay attention to because like I said, I think people are sleeping at the wheel with Phantasmal Flames. I really do. Don't be one of those sheep people, those sheeple. Don't be one of them. Make up your own mind. Look at the data. If you like the set, you like the set. If that's against what everyone else says, that goes in your favor because you'll pick it up cheaper and at a discount. Let's then move on to Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution is looking pretty cheap as well. It is holding at around about this 240 range. And this is something that's going to become quite common as we look at some of the other sets in Scarlet and Violet. It seems like 230, 240 is becoming re-established like it was in the summer as sort of the base level, the bottom of the market for most sets. I'm talking about back in the summer, you could get Journey, Surgeon, Paradox, Temporal. They all sat at 240. 240 with even base, Stellar Crown, that kind of thing. It just became the base of the market, and anything you could buy under that was a good deal. And I feel like that's coming back. I feel like that 240 range is coming back. And the fact that Mega is getting older and older by the day, the weeks and weeks are going by, and it's still just holding well over retail at around about this 240 range. Look at this. Last sold on TCG Play 234, 240. One went for 280. I don't know what that's all about. 300, bit of price manipulation there. 240, 235, 200, 240, 240. About 240 is about average. And I think pretty much any box now, apart from Phantasmal Flames, because you can get that a little bit cheaper now if you get a good deal. But most boxes, your Mega Evolution and most of Scarlet and Violet right now, if you can get in at 240 or below on any set, I think you're doing well. I think that 240 is going to become the new floor for everything. Last sold in the US, let's have a look. 230, no photo. These are Phantasmal Flames, they just come up. Yeah, 230. There's a 190 there, but that just screams, that just looks a bit dodgy to me. New listing tag, someone bought it out, but that's quite a bit below market. That's what, nearly 20% below market on a buy it now. Kind of a bit crazy. Here you go. 215, 217. Those are both sales from yesterday as well. So that's a good gauge of where the market is. Again, they're selling on TCG Player for 240. I think if you can get into Mega Evolution for under 240, I think it's an excellent opportunity to get in. And I feel like you're going to be able to get into it for a while. I don't think you need to rush. I think you've got 2 to 6 months of it under 240. And then it'll just start creeping up over the next year. That is my prediction on Mega Evolution. I think it's a good set. Last sold in the UK, 198 quid. Sub 200 a box on Mega Evolution now. And that's the enhanced version as well. Let's then talk about Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals has taken its crown back again this week. It is now, again, more expensive than Paldea Evolved. It is the most expensive Scarlet and Violet booster box of the era. There's no surprise there for me. I do think short term Paldea Evolved can take its crown back, but long term I don't think it's got a chance. I think that once both sets are comfortably out of print, you know, sort of 2 years from now, I think that Destined Rivals is really going to start pulling ahead as the most expensive box. And it is showing that it is quite resistant to the market pausing. Last week it was averaging $3.98 a box. Last sales $4.09, $3.99, $4.09. It's holding at that $400 to $410 range, and you're just not getting booster box restocks of this product. There was so much talk about Destined Rivals being printed into the ground and there'll be booster boxes everywhere for retail. It never happened. Those people are completely silent now. They were completely wrong. They won't be held accountable. And sadly, the people that listened to them and believed that, they missed out. And now you've got to pay $400 for a box. And yeah, in the short term, over the next 6 months, they might print more of it and it might drop down to $350. But why miss that play? I would be much happier to buy it for $400 now, not miss the play, hold it for a couple of years, and then in a couple of years, when it's 2k plus a box, in 5-10 years from now, when it's potentially 5k a box, 10k a box, 15k a box, these are all very real possibilities for sets like this. Are you really going to care about paying an extra $50 and you might have been able to time it, or you might miss it? Okay, just as easily as 6 months from now this could be $50 less and it could be $350, it could be $100 more too. We could see an in-print Destined Rivals box going for $500. That is a very real thing that could happen, and I think that people need to be aware of it. I think it's quite successfully flexed that it is the best, well, top two In my opinion, it's the best, but some people will argue it's top two sets of Scarlet and Violet. Paldea Evolved and Destined Rivals are so close with each other. They keep sort of overtaking each other with Last Souls, but again, I think it's just short-term noise. Once Destined Rivals gets a little bit older, I really do think it's best in class and it's going to pull ahead. And you'll find that a lot of Pokemon influencers and YouTubers and investors and stuff they're always reluctant to call out what the winners of each era are going to be before it happens. Me, I've got no problems doing that. Okay. I called out Evolving Skies day one. I was there at the launch event. I still have the build and battle boxes from the launch event. It is one of the only events that I've ever actually queued up on launch day for, because I just knew it was a fire set. And we all knew it was a fire set when it was coming out. Everyone knew it was the Evolution set and everyone knew it was fire, but loads of people missed the play and didn't buy in. So history repeated itself with Destined Rivals as well. I'm not comparing this to Evolving Skies, but Evolving Skies was the best in class for Sword and Shield. Looks like Destined Rivals is the best in class for Scarlet and Violet. Will history repeat itself? You have to make your own mind up on that one. Let's then have a look at price data. Like I said, it's holding at that $400 mark. Last sold $400 in the US. Look at this, two selling for $925. Interesting. So even more there. And that's an import from Australia. I don't know why you would pay for that. But yeah, $400 US to US, new listing tags. I bought out straight away on that too. Last sold in the UK, 265 quid. Destined Rivals is such a good buy, in my opinion. So happy that I have some, and I didn't listen to the noise when it came out. Journey Together. Journey Together is one of those sets that, like I said, it's finding its floor around this 230, 240 mark. It went even lower. It went at the start of December down to like 222. Now it's bounced right back up to 240. Last sale 243, and then a couple of healthy sales before that at around about that 230 range. I feel like everything is stabilizing at that 240 range again. Obviously, short term, you will get a few sales below, you will get a few sales above on these sets, but I think 240 is a really, really good average for all of the mid to low sets in Scarlet and Violet and Mega Evolution era. And I think if you can scoop anything up Scarlet and Violet wise for under 240 and you're prepared to put it away for a couple of years, I think you're going to do very well. Last sold on eBay US 260. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's comfortable. It really is comfortable at that 240 mark. Seeing a sale there for 260. Here's one going for 230. Bought out straight away. Enhanced, nice minty box. Know your prices, guys. Like I said, if you think of 240 as the floor for right now, we can adjust that back down if we need to in a couple of weeks. But anything 240 now is a good general rule. Anything cheaper than that looks cheap. Okay. Last sold in the UK 182 non-enhanced and 219 enhanced. It's important to realise that here in the UK the enhanced ones ran away in price for a little bit. The gap is narrowing again now. It's 40 quid between the two now. It's just something to keep an eye on. Me, all the ones that I own are non-enhanced. I don't think that's a big deal going forward. At these kind of prices, 182 quid, I still think you're winning. Journey Together's not going to make you rich overnight, but that's not why we do this. Okay, it's long-term investments and it's serious gains over a long period of time, and that's why all of the dead leaves are being shook from the tree over this week and over this month basically, and it will just continue. More and more people will exit sealed, and the people that are left behind are you guys. It's us. We can scoop up all the boxes on a discount because we know where all of this is going out of print. And there's so many people that even know what we know and they still won't move because they're scared. Okay, you just need to have some patience and some confidence in these sealed products, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed going forward. Let's then have a look at Surging Sparks. Again, we can zip through these nice and quick because we're just stabilizing at this point. Same with Journey Together, same with Paradox, Temporal, all that kind of stuff. Stabilizing stabilizing at around about 240. Last sold 240, 240, 240, 240. Let's have a look at eBay. 260 import from the UK. 260 import from the UK. 225 US to US. See, this is what I'm talking about. If you look at 230, 240 as a base rate, more 240, this looks cheap. Okay, $15 off on a nice surge in Sparks. Good buy, in my opinion. 220, bought out straight away. 240, anything cheaper than that for Scarlet and Violet, I think you're doing well. Let's then have a look at the UK. 200 quids, last sold UK. Let's move on to Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions, I don't see how it will get any cheaper. It is really finding its floor around about this 210 mark, and it is holding, it's hovering between 210, 215, that kind of range. Last sold 111, 110, 115 range. Last sold 111, 111, 111, 111, 111. All the same seller by the looks of it, but lots of sales data around about that 110 to 115 mark for Prismatic. I think it's one of the best buys you can buy right now for obviously a cheaper amount because it's only the ETB. I think if you've got if you don't hold any Prismatic, then yeah, move into Prismatic and get some, I would say. Either the ETBs or the bundles. I think they're both pretty good plays in the long term. If you've got more money though, and you already hold a bit of Prismatic, I think that you should be looking at booster boxes of other stuff. Depending on your budget, if you've got big money, like multiple thousands of dollars, I think you need to be looking at Sword and Shield right now, looking at stuff like Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin. I think that those are your best places to move in. I think that if you're, not got thousands to spend, but you've got a decent amount, you should be looking at stuff like Destined Rivals, that kind of thing. I think that if you want to slowly build a position and increase your seal collection by not spending $200 plus at a time, I think that Prismatic Evolutions, ETBs, and booster bundles are one of the best things you can buy right now. I just don't see how they get any cheaper than this. I think we're at the real floor of the market on Prismatic for one of the best sets. eBay's looking a bit mad. Look at this, $99. I think anywhere sub $110 is a really good deal on Prismatic right now. And look at this one, selling for $90. It's absolutely disgustingly cheap. $90 for a Prismatic ETB. That's just one sale. The average is about $100. Look at this. Look, $99. Costco bundle going for $155. $99 bought out straight away. Look at this. $110. These are all from yesterday. $110. $95. $117 with a tin. Yeah. I think anything sub $100 is criminal. And look at this. So this one that went for $90, I checked it out and it looks legit. It's from a proper seller. They do have, no, it's not. No feedback on the $90 one. Okay, this is a sauce box. It's something else that I checked out earlier and I got confused with it. This, oh, it's best offer accepted. Maybe it went for more. Hopefully it went for more. Okay. About $100 anyway is a really good deal on Prismatic. Let's move on. Last sold in the UK. There we go. 104. This is a dodgy one as well. So this is the one that I meant that I checked out. Okay, look. So market is about 100 quid to 105. Look at this sale from this morning. £73 for a Prismatic ETB. What? Excuse me? That is over 25% below market price. So someone bought that out straight away. And I checked this out. This looks legit as well. I don't know if it's a listing error. Look, they've got a UPC in the background. So they obviously, have more Pokemon related product. They've got good feedback, 98%, lots of sales. I went through their feedback as well. They're selling all Pokemon stuff, sealed cards, really good feedback. Someone got a blinding deal here in the UK. Look at this, more than 73 quid for a Prismatic ETB sealed. Guys, if you're in the UK here, we need to be keeping an eye on this. I know this is just one sale. I looked through the photos as well. Seal looks good. There's no rips on it or anything. Someone got a blinding deal on that. I hope that was one of my subscribers. Bravo, that's one of the best deals I've seen all year. Comment down below if that was you that bought that. I am very, very impressed with whoever scooped that up. If I'd have seen that, I would have bought that out straight away as well. So kudos to whoever bought that one. Let's move on though. 151 Elite Trainer box. As the market cooled off a couple of months ago, it came down in price a lot when I felt that it shouldn't. Because if you zoom out, look, it held at this $400 mark for so long, a good few months. And I really thought that was it. I really thought that you won't see it drop much below $400. It's just going to hold at that price point. And it dropped a lot, and it dropped more than I expected it to. And we're starting to see a bit of a rebound back up in price now, because I did think that it went a little bit low. We called it here. We said it was stupid that it was $350. It's a $400 box all day long, and it quite clearly is going to bounce back to that given enough time. Last week it was averaging $360. Last sold $360, $360, $360. But we're moving up on the averages. Okay, we're moving away from this crazy $350 mark. I think it's a great opportunity to buy into one of the best sets of the Scarlet and Violet era. Goes out of print before a lot of other stuff. I don't think they're going to make any more of the ETBs. Even if they do, which is a slim chance, it's not going to be enough to affect the price really. And it's just a great opportunity to buy into a box that has proven that it should be up in that $400 range, getting a massive discount on it. And I don't think it'll be long before it creeps back up to 400. You can see prices are a bit all over the place here on US eBay. Look, $340 last sold. 377 import from the UK, 350 on an auction. See what I mean? It's all a bit all over the place. Again, in my eyes, $400 box all day long. You're getting it for what's this one? 20% off. It seems like a no-brainer to me. Last sold in the UK, 293 quid. PC ETB going for 526. Interesting. Let's then move on. Paradox. We can move on from Paradox Rift pretty quickly. It's just sort of stabilizing at the bottom of the market as one of the cheaper boxes. Again, at that 240 range. 237, 237 has been holding there for a couple of weeks now. Just reinforcing that $240 floor on Scarlet and Violet boxes. Let's move on then. Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces is still holding a little bit of a premium over Paradox. I think it's possible that it could go back down to that 240 range, but at the moment on the averages, last week it was averaging 267. Now it's at like 260. But it's not that far off. It's less than 10% away from that, that 240 mark that we talked about, of sort of like the settled base of the market. So it's holding a few dollars over that. I can see it getting cheaper, but I can't see it getting much cheaper. I can see it going back to the level of where Paradox is now, where Journey Together is now, and Surgeon's a little bit further ahead, but not by much. Like I said, stabilization at that $240 range. I think if you can scoop up anything, be it base set, Stellar Crown, Obsidian Flames, Journey Together, doesn't matter. I think if you can get any set under $240 now, as long as you're willing to put it away for a couple of years, you'll do all right. Interestingly, look at this. Last sold eBay US, $250. Okay. Like I said, around that 230, 240 base layer, a little bit over that. But look at this. Okay. Look at this case. I am so happy to see case premiums start to dissipate. Now, I can kind of understand a case premium on something wild that's out of print, like an Evolving Skies sealed case. That's a collector's piece because there's not going to be many of them around. Okay. But when people were trying to charge like 20, 30% over market price as a case premium for something like Temporal Forces, I think that was mad. So look at this. Sold yesterday, a sealed case in the US of Temporal Forces for $1,175. How much do you reckon that is per booster box? $195. This is why I have never, ever bought sealed cases for more than retail. Okay? Because I think case premium is such a stupid thing that shouldn't exist. And it only exists when the market's doing insane hype things. It really does. Because look at this. This case, Temporal Forces isn't the most desirable box. But at that price point, $195 a box on average, that makes it the cheapest box on the market. Look, you can see them selling for $250 right there. Now, yes, you'll incur fees, but you're getting a 20% discount by buying it on the case. Not only is it not a case premium, it's a case discount. And that's the world that I come from. I come from the world where it's cheaper to buy the case than to buy the single box, which is why I never pay case premium on anything. I remember when Destined Rivals came out, case premium was insane. It was like 20-30% over market. And I wouldn't pay it. And I told you guys that what I was doing instead is I was building a case. This is what I like to do when case premium is insane. Buy 6 individual boxes because it's cheaper. I don't care that it's sealed in a brown cardboard box when I can't see it. I don't want that. So why would I pay a premium for that? Do you see what I mean? I can kind of understand doing it on the crazy sets like Destined Rivals, Evolving Skies, that kind of thing. I can kind of understand it. Not that I would pay for it myself. But for stuff like Temporal, this is how it should be. It should be a discount on the case. I remember even big box stores here, big box online stores and big card shops would sell cases on release of stuff like Surgeon, Twilight Masquerade for like 20% below retail on a pre-order. You could pre-order a case for like, I don't know what it would work out into in the US, probably like $140 a box, something like that. As a retail investor, you didn't need distro to get a discount on pre-ordering product. It's just something that's really interesting. I love to see a cheap case. I think it's a positive sign in the market for us sealed collectors and investors. Anyway, let's move on. Last sold, Temporal Forces in the UK, 165 quid, just a hair over retail. I think that's a really good buy. I already hold a little bit of it. I don't really want to buy more of it. For that kind of price point, that 165, I don't think you lose, but for an extra 15 quid, I'd rather stack some more Phantasmal. That's just my play. Because I think that long term, 5 years from now, I think that Phantasmal is going to be a lot more expensive than Temporal, even though Phantasmal's a lot newer. In 5 years, these things don't matter as much because they're both well out of print. Then you start to see best in class start to pull ahead. Anyway, Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved, still one of the most expensive booster boxes in the Scarlet and Violet era. Getting pretty close to going out of print as well, which will stimulate its activity. It's a decent buy as well, purely for the fact that it's got room to grow back to its all-time high. It's already shown that it can push up to that $500 range in print. So when it goes out of print, it's going to be a lot easier for it to push back up to these levels that it's already been at before. About 3 months ago, it was at its peak, really pushing and knocking on the door of $500. So I do see Paldea Evolved having a climb back up to $500 over the next year and probably beyond that. Okay, the timing of it is difficult. It's not that I have any doubt that it will push over all-time highs to $500. It's just how long will it take, and that depends on market conditions. It depends on how long the pause in the market goes on for, whether it goes on for until January or whether it goes on till March. It's not a question in my mind of if Pokemon's going to have another run. It's when Pokemon Sealed is going to have another run. Is it going to have another run next year, as in 2026, which is a couple of weeks away? Over the next 12 months, are we going to see another big hype cycle? Possibly. Or are we going to see a cooling off period? And the run on Scarlet and Violet will be in 12 months' time as we're going into 2027. That's what I'm not sure about, the timing. And as we get more data, as we see more of the market moving, we'll obviously adjust that and let you know. That's why you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity, because it's not just a case of what the market's doing now. It's always changing, and I'm adjusting my predictions and I'm adjusting All of these things, as we're getting more data week on week. Okay, our picture of what's happening in the future is changing every week. Okay, so let's have a look at prices. Prices last sold eBay US. See, this is what knocked it down from its all-time high. There was an auction yesterday, last sold for 380, which is actually under market, because you can see that the sale before it, buy it now, 410. 410 would put it as the most expensive. Just for your information, last sold Destined Rivals, $399. So if this sale hadn't have happened, Paldea Evolve still would have been in the lead. But because there was a cheeky little 380 on an auction, Destined Rivals sold for 399 on a buy it now. It pushed it up higher. But they are like neck and neck. They really are. It's an interesting race to see. I'm always backing my boy Destined Rivals though. Big fan of Destined Rivals. Last sold in the UK, 330 quid. They're equally both really good sets. Let's move on then to Sword and Shield. Let's talk about the King of the Jungle himself, Mr. Evolving Skies. We talked about him briefly earlier. It's hard to have conversations about sealed modern Pokemon products without bringing up Evolving Skies, even when it's not our time to talk about him, because he is the GOAT set. What I like to think about and compare Evolving Skies to, because you can't really compare it to anything else, is Bricks of Gold. And I think that is a really good way of looking at Evolving Skies, because just like gold, it's liquid. You can always sell it. You might have to sell it for 10% below market, but if you list a nice sealed minty Evolving Skies box for 10% below market, and 10% below market is what, like $220? If you put it $220 below market price, you could sell that almost instantly on any eBay around the world. I'm very confident about that. So it's liquid in that respect. They're not making any more of it, just like with gold. It's a scarce resource. And I feel like gold is similar in the way that it's an investable, stackable, tangible asset, if you know what all of those words mean. I'm getting all investory. But I'm serious. I really am. I think that if you have a lot of money that you want to store in the success of sealed Pokemon product, Evolving Skies is your one to go to. And I feel like as Pokemon investing becomes more popular in mainstream investing, and it will, purely for the fact that you can't lie with the numbers. Okay, everyone watching now at this point of the video, you all know how crazy the Pokemon sealed market is, and every single day more and more people find out about it, and more people with a lot of money. Things are starting to shift. They really are. It's starting with sports cards, but in America, you're getting the big investors that are starting hedge funds that are investing into PSA graded sports cards. That is a very real thing, and it is bringing money into the collectible space. Now, not specifically in Pokemon, but I think it's coming. I really do. And each month that goes past, each year that goes past, more and more money is going to be flowing into sealed product, I think. And there is no better way to park a good amount of money. And for some of us watching, $10,000, $100,000 might seem an unquestionable amount of money to be able to just drop on Pokemon product. But once these big Wall Street guys and these big investors start getting more involved in Pokemon sealed product, and I think it's inevitable, these kind of things, your Evolving Skies, your best in class that's out of print that you can't get any more of, Evolving Skies, your team up, that kind of stuff, even your vintage base set booster boxes, that kind of stuff, I think that they will go up in value a lot. And I think they will be treated like gold. I think that if I had, put yourself in this position, this is what I'm trying to say. Say you've got a client and you're going to invest their money in Pokemon for them because you're an expert in sealed and they're not. If they give you $100,000 to put into sealed product, what are you putting the money into? And that's how you need to start thinking about some of these products. Because when you're only spending $2,000, $3,000, it seems a lot to put all of that into one box of Evolving Skies. But when you've got $100,000 to put into the Pokemon sealed market to try and see a return, things like Team Up, things like Evolving Skies are your only option. You're not going to buy 1,000 boxes of Temporal Forces because just the logistics of buying and storing that is going to be insane. So I do think that Evolving Skies has so much more potential going forward in the long term than anyone even realizes. And I think that there's an excellent opportunity now where Sword and Shield is showing a bit of price retracement. And I feel like it's only temporary as the market's on this pause, on this cooling off period, as I've called it. And I think you're getting into these sets at a discount. If you've got this kind of money to throw around, which some of you guys will, I'm not talking about $100,000. If you've got enough to buy one Evolving Skies box and you've got that as spare money that you were planning on putting into sealed anyway, if you've got a spare $2,500, I think that Evolving Skies is probably the best thing that you can buy right now. And if you've got a little bit less, there's plays to be made on the other boxes as well. Fusion, Lost, Brilliant, Silver, that kind of stuff. Let's have a look at prices then. So, like I said, prices are kind of stabilizing, but down on what I think they should be. So, TCG data is a bit rubbish. We've had two sales over the last week, one at $2,100, one at $2,174. eBay's really the place to look at live prices for Evolving Skies, just because you have a lot more sales data. Yesterday, sealed box of Evolving Skies going on at auction for $2,150. That just looks cheap to me. I feel like market price is like $2,300, and even that is cheap. It's got the potential to just bump up to 3K over the next year quite quickly and probably push way beyond that into all-time highs. I really do think so. If any set's going to do it, it will be Evolving Skies. It is the GOAT set, and you can get it on a discount right now. You really can. Another sale here. Look at this. One bid, $2,000. Now, to a lot of you, you're like, yeah, $2,000 is a lot of money, but when markets, what, 2,300, and it's got the potential to push to 3K, 50% increase over the next year, I think it's very likely that that could happen. Let's have a look at the UK. Look at this. Last sold in the UK, 1,900 quid. Right up there. That's a big increase on last week. Last week, I think we saw a 1,600 box, which looked really cheap. So back up there. UK market rebounding quite a lot on Evolving Skies. I do still have some sealed Evolving Skies booster box. I sold a lot of them last year. I don't regret it because I just churned that money into other things. But I made sure that I held some sealed Evolving Skies back. I'm glad I did. Those ones will be with me for a very long time, unless I really need the money for like a family emergency or like a medical thing. I'm holding the rest of my Evolving Skies until 10-15 grand plus a box, and then I'll consider it. But realistically, I'll probably still hold it because it's just like a gem in the collection. Like I said on a lot of videos, it's not all about investing for me. It's also about the collection. And it's the story behind it. I queued up on launch day. I bought the build and battle boxes on launch day. I couldn't find any booster boxes on launch day, so I bought one on the secondary market for 180 quid. And then I bought in and bought more of them when they were 300 quid, and everyone started dumping them, thinking that 300 quid was it. That was the run on Evolving Skies, and people started dumping them for like 280, 300 quid. People told me I was mad for buying them at 300 quid. Bought a load of them, sold them for 2x, 600 quid last year. Happy with that, but I still hold. Okay, I still hold sealed Evolving Skies booster boxes that I bought in for an average price of like around about 200 quid. So I'm still winning overall. I didn't get rid of all of them. Sold my Evolving Skies ETBs earlier this year as well. I think I sold them 200 each, something like that. They've gone up a lot since then, but I don't regret it because I bought them for retail. I bought them for 45 quid each. So it is what it is. Like, no matter what moves you make in this market, people won't understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's a very personal journey, with anything with finance. Anything that you buy for an investment, it's very much your decision when you buy and hold. I've got a little phrase here: if you've got the product, you've got the power. And just because I've got a YouTube channel and I'm open and transparent about what I'm selling, when I'm selling it, that kind of thing, you guys don't. Okay, so it's a very personal thing. For me, it was the right time to sell those Evolving Skies booster boxes, and I don't regret them. And I don't regret selling the ETBs. Yeah, they've gone up in price a lot more over the last 6 months or so. But they also might not have. They also might have just chilled and held. And I put that money into building my Destined Rivals case, which is more than doubled in price in the last couple of months as well. So it's like, I think I actually made more money. I need to think about this at some point, but I think I actually made more money selling Evolving Skies and buying Destined Rivals than I did if I would have just held Evolving Skies. I've never really thought about it until now, because something that's really important, and I will stress this to all of you, that this is a great practice to do with seal product, is when you sell, just remove your attachment from everything. Okay, when you sell, you sell. There's no talk of, oh, I could have held it and made the extra money. No, it was the right time to sell then. Hopefully you made money on it anyway. So look at the positive, not the negative. Don't look at the opportunity cost of what could have been. Look at what you actually achieved, the realized profit. And hopefully you rolled that into something else that is either been more successful, like I got lucky with Destined Rivals, or it might not have gone up in price yet. You might have rolled the money into something that will perform really well in 2 years from now or 3 years from now, something like that. So something to bear in mind. Anyway, I'm waffling again. Story time with PokePond. It happens every week. Every week I plan to do, oh yeah, I'll just do a quick little episode. The market's not moving much. We'll just do a super quick episode and zip through it, and I just end up going off on a tangent. As always, let's talk about Fusion Strike then. Fusion Strike, I think it's at the floor. I don't see it getting any cheaper. I think it's a steal right now. I think it's $1,000 box all day long. I'm saying this every week. It looks like it's stabilizing a little bit now around about that $850 range. Last week it was averaging $853. Not much sales data. Last sold $870, $835, $840, averaging about what it did last week. Last sold eBay US, $813, import from Australia, $830 US to US. That's a good gauge, because not only is that US to US, that $830, but it's also an auction as well, 63 bids. So that is a good indication of what market price is right now, $830 on Fusion, which is about where it was last week. I still think that's a really good buy as well. If you want to invest in Sword and Shield, and maybe you don't have the kind of money to move into something like Evolving, I know that $830 is a lot of money to a lot of people, but that is a decent play. I think there's a lot of room for that to grow over the next year. Last sold in the UK, 575 quid. Is cheap, but it says read description. I checked out the auction, it's got a tear on the top. The tear's not massive, but the difference between these two prices, about 60 quid, is 10%. So it's 10% off for a tear on an auction. I think that for small tears, I think 10% is like, well, it's actually 8% he's selling it less for. But I think that 10% is a good gauge for like a small rip. That's how much it should affect sealed value. But bear in mind, it will be slower to sell if you've got a ripped box, even at 10% below market, just because you'll have less buyers that will want to buy it. Me personally, I would never buy anything ripped if I know it's ripped. And even if I don't know it's ripped and it turns up and it's ripped, I'm returning it. And eBay's always got your back as a buyer in those circumstances as well. All it takes is a couple of photos to eBay, bop, 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 you've got your money back. So be cautious about ripped boxes. It's not worth saving yourself 60 quid. The reason why the boxes still sell for less is because a lot of people are still opening. People like, it's fine to buy a ripped box if you're going to open it, because you get a little bit of a discount. You get 60 quid off. What I want to point out to you is 10% is about right for a small to mid-size rip. And you might think, oh, well, that won't make much difference. I'm going to buy one with a small rip and save myself 60 quid now. The problem with that is, say it becomes a $10,000 box, without 10,000 quid box in 5-10 years from now. What's that 10% going to cost you then? $1,000? $1,500? Something like that. That's how you need to look at it with percentages. Okay. Once the numbers start getting bigger, the numbers start getting bigger. And I tell you what, there will be a lot less people that will be willing to spend $9,000 on a ripped Fusion Strike box in 2030 or 2035 than people spend an extra grand on a Minty box. That Minty box is going to fly out, I'm telling you, for full market, probably even over market. You can charge what you want in 10 years' time for a Minty Fusion Strike box. But one with a rip, I think you'll struggle to sell that for because you're talking astronomical numbers. You're talking $9,000 a box. No one wants to shell out $9,000 for a ripped box, and that's what you need to focus on. Not what the price difference is now. What's the price difference going to be in the future when I come to sell it? Okay. Not saying that Fusion's going to $10,000 a box, but hypothetical. Okay. Lost Origin. Lost Origin pretty flat. Looks like it's found its floor at around about 650. No real change over the last week. Last sold 650, 650. Not really moving. I do think that looks cheap for Lost Origin, especially when Fusion's at 850 and looking cheap too. I think that that's a good opportunity to buy into a box as well. Good box, good set, definitely a top 3 set, Lost Origin, and has already shown that it can be up there at that $800 range as well. So it's not like it's got to break through barriers and break through all-time highs to get back to that range. It just needs to bounce back over a good year in the market. And I do think that Sword and Shield is going to run. I think it's most likely going to be a good run on Sword and Shield this year over the next 12 months. But it might take longer. It might be 2027 it has a big run. But I'm very confident it will have a big run and perform very well over the next couple of years. Astral Radiance is one of the only sets that's like falling, like, what I'm trying to say is it's pretty much the same price as Destined Rivals right now and Paldea Evolved, the most expensive Scarlet and Violet boxes. And that, to me, looks like an opportunity. Now, there's a lot more hype behind Paldea Evolved and Destined Rivals, but Astral Radiance is a lot older. And I'm telling you, it's not a bad set. I think people are really sleeping on Astral Radiance. I really do. Prices are a bit all over the place just because it's not super popular. There's not a huge amount of demand. Sales anywhere from 375 right up to 400. Not a huge amount of sales data. Let's have a look at eBay. Last sold eBay US 360. So it's cheaper than Paldea Evolved, cheaper than Destined Rivals. So in print, good opportunity, in my opinion, for a box that's not super desirable, but I think will become one of the ones that's a little bit rarer in the future. And that does definitely increase the value. If there's less being sold in the future, that will help carry Astral Radiance, I think, going forward. Last sold in the UK, 320 quid. It's a creeper set. It's not one you're going to get rich on overnight, but that just looked really cheap for a half decent Sword and Shield set. It's not top 5. It's maybe up there at like 5th, 6th, maybe like 6th, 7th best set. I think it's better than Battle Styles, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely an opportunity, and we always keep an eye out and keep an eye on opportunities here on the channel. We'll always let you know. Brilliant Stars, not much to talk about with Brilliant Stars, actually. Holding at $500 and has been over the last couple of weeks. Last sales 501, 503, 503. Not much to talk about. I don't see it really dropping below that. I was surprised when it dropped here in November, and I called it out. I said that I was really shocked to see it drop not only below 500, but significantly below. We always talk about Brilliant Stars having a line of support on $500, and this chart sort of like highlights it perfectly, because we were way up over $500 here, and then as the market cooled off, we hit that $500 mark, and it held for multiple weeks. Look, yeah, you can see it averaging there, 491, 490, 490. And then I was shocked to see it break $500. I thought that was going to be the floor of it, and I was shocked, and it went right down to an average of 417. I was telling people to buy them here, and then it stabilized, and we're back up at $500, where I expected it to stay. I expected the floor to be 500. So to see it bounce right down below is crazy, but healthy to see it back up in that $500 range. I would be surprised if it drops below $500 again. And if it does, it's a buying opportunity. And I think it will just do that again. It will just do what it's already proven to do and just bounce back up to that $500 range fairly soon. So I think if you can scoop Brilliant under $500, you're doing well. Let's then talk about Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest is coming down in price quite a bit. Let's have a look at prices. 426 last week. Oh, 440 now, 410, 412. It's just the averages. Look, last sale, 2 for 440. That's a little bit more than what it was last week. So that's why you need to be careful with average charts. Have a look at last sale, see what's going on. I think that even at 440, that's a really good buy. It's about where it should be at. And I think that once things sort themselves out in the market a little bit, give it a bit of time over the next few months, I think it will be pushing all-time highs and then start to break that $500 range like Brilliant Stars did in the summer. Good set. I'm surprised it's as cheap as it is right now. Definitely a good opportunity for those who really know. And it really takes the seasoned seal collector to start chucking around money in Sword and Shield right now. It really does. It's easy to do when the market's hot and everything's going up, but the real people who really know they're sealed and really have the patience and the faith in it, if you've also got the spare money right now, Sword and Shield's to play. It really is. 449 last sold eBay US for silver. Last sold in the UK 373. Let's talk about Crown Zenith very briefly. I like to keep an eye on Crown Zenith because I like to call Crown Zenith my compounding bank account. It's probably one of the safest sealed investments I think is out there for consistent growth and will be over the next couple of years. Was kind of hovering at around about that $200 range for the last couple of weeks. Last sold 195, still around that range. Last sold eBay US 200, 209, 206. I think it's very unlikely Crown Zenith is ever going to drop for any amount of time below $200, and I think it's just going to do what Crown Zenith does, which it will either be hold its value at around about $200 or slowly start creeping up. And I think it will start creeping up. It's just a matter of time, and it's just going to have a slow, steady gain over the next year up to that $300 range, in my opinion, which is actually a really good, consistent profit. I mean, who's happy to make 50% on their money over 12 months? I will be. I'm quite happy to. Last sold eBay UK, right up there at all-time high, 213. And then randomly one selling for, oh no, once you put on postage, 210. 195, about 200 with postage, 205, 195. About where it has been over the last couple of weeks. Seems to be in that pause range in the market, not really falling, and just at a nice healthy price. I'm going to finish off by talking. Sometimes I talk about something a little bit different. I understand I talk about the Charizard UPC quite a lot, but I wanted to end on this because I didn't really want to put it at the start of the episode. I wanted to get through some of the sets and talk about everything that was going on with Phantasmal Flames. I went on a bit of a tangent with Phantasmal at the start of the episode, so I didn't want to stretch it out too much by talking about Mega Charizard XEX UPC as it's full known. What a stupid name that is. Everyone just knows it as the Mega Charizard UPC. I think that's a better name for it. Anyway, we're keeping an eye on it because I keep saying it's a good buy and it keeps getting cheaper and cheaper, and I welcome it getting cheaper and cheaper. And there's no way in my eyes that a couple of years from now this isn't $200, $300, $400 plus. Um, so we're tracking it. Price is still coming down. It's still a good buy at this price if you hold it for a couple of years, in my opinion. If it goes down more, just buy more of it. 162 last week, last sold 144. Okay, down another $18. That's more than 10% over the last week. That's what, like 11.5% drop over the last week. Last sold eBay US. Ignore this. This is UK imports. Last sold 160. Well, 157 free postage. Let's scroll down some more. Let's find another one. 155. 143. We're getting cheaper, guys. We're getting cheaper. Keep an eye on this. I might have to buy another one. Last sold in the UK, 153 quid, 150 quid. Okay, these were going for like 180 not that long ago. I'm talking pounds here. $200 in the US. They're getting cheaper. Keep an eye on it. Look at this as well. Right. Complete tangent. Sleepy Zard, one of my favourite cards. Raw. It's now going for 32 quid. I know they were going up in price. But yeah, 32 quid. Actually, conveniently, I didn't even plan this. Look, I've got a PSA 9 of it right here. That shows that it's one of my favourite cards because it's there on my desk. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like I said, market is on a bit of a pause right now. I wouldn't be worried. I think we've got a lot of good times ahead of us. I look forward to all the people saying that the market is crashing being wrong. If you ever see me make a video where the thumbnail and the title is the market's crashing or it's a failing market, don't read too much into it, okay? Listen to the content that I'm saying in the videos. It's just how YouTube works. It's how you get clicks. Maybe I'll do a clickbait title on this one. Maybe I won't. Jury's still out on that one. We will see. But just before I go as well, please do hit the like button. It really does help me out and helps push my content out there further. For those of you who want to support as well, this channel is obviously completely free for everyone. All the content is free. There is no bonus content in the Join Club, but there is a YouTube Join Club. Just have a look at my homepage and there should be a button for join if you want to support. It does cost money. For the higher tier though, you do get the perk of I will connect with you on Instagram. We can just DM and be friends and be amigos. You can ask me anything whenever, wherever. I will always try and respond to you, and I'm happy to teach as well. I'm happy to teach you guys what to buy. I can look at auctions for you, that kind of thing. The whole kind of idea behind it is I will try and save you more money than you're paying for the subscription. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button. If you're new here, subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas. This is the last video before Christmas. I will try and put one out between Christmas and New Year's. It may be a little bit late though. We'll see. It's been a fantastic year. Thank you to everyone for all of your support. The channel has grown a lot. Have yourselves a wonderful time with all of your families. Good luck out there finding cheap product on eBay or out in the wild. Have yourselves a wonderful day and peace.